are so limited. It's the highest demand for a Super Bowl ticket, and the Chiefs' kingdom is like trying to get there. So that whole home field advantage thing, Chiefs fans travel, and they want to get there. And this is going to be a really interesting subplot to the Super Bowl.
Lots of interesting ins and outs and what have yous. It's time for the lead block. 10 days out. That's right. Epic showdown in Tampa. So let's get to the latest on the Chiefs and the Bucs. Schrager said it. We've got you covered everywhere all across the country, especially right there outside of Raymond James Stadium. Let's start with our very own Jeffrey Chadia. And also Sarah Walsh is here. Take a look.
Thanks, Kay. Well, here in Kansas City, the Chiefs are saying they still have a ton of confidence in McCole Hardman. He obviously had an up-and-down game in the AFC Championship game with a muff punt that led to an early Bills score, but he came back with a 50-yard run and a touchdown on the next drive. And it was important for him to have those kind of plays because, as Andy Reid said, they wanted him to know they still believed in him. In fact, the special teams coach talked to him after that muff punt. Greg Lewis, the receivers coach, talked to him, and Patrick Mahomes. They all said the same thing. We believe in you. We believe in you. And so going forward, the Chiefs know they have to have Hardman play a big role in this contest. They know the Bucs aren't going to let Tyreek Hill just run around the field as he did last time. They know they'll focus on Travis Kelce. There will be big play opportunities for a McCole Hardman. They know he's made them before. They expect him to make them again in this game. And now we'll send it over to Sarah Walsh.
Thanks, Jeff. Here in Tampa a little later today, we're going to see the Bucs on the practice field for the first time since they clinched a spot in Super Bowl 55. Who won't be out practicing, though, became a little more clear after Bruce Arians spoke on Tampa radio station WDAE Wednesday. He said, don't expect to see Antoine Winfield Jr. or Antonio Brown out there. He said they will be rolled out next week. The same would likely apply to safety Jordan Whitehead, who injured his shoulder against Green Bay on Sunday. Now, GM Jason Light addressed the media for really the first time this season and said for all the talk that is being made about this team being built to win right now, he said they're set up beautifully for the future. Yes, they have a 43-year-old quarterback, and he said some other elder statesmen, but Light called this a young team. Of course, he has a coach at 68 years old who could be the oldest to ever win a Super Bowl. Bruce Arians told WDAE his mom couldn't be more excited about this game. She's flying down to see it, and she is 95 years old. Kay, back to you in the studio.
We love that. He would be the oldest coach in NFL history to win himself a Super Bowl. Cannot wait for that. New city, new playbook for Tom Brady. Is getting to the Super Bowl, Nate, let's talk about this. Is getting there Tom Brady's greatest achievement yet? He's got a lot of check marks, a lot of hardware. What do you think?
I believe it is, for sure. I was the first one to say after him leaving New England that he better find somewhere that's ready to win right now. And I would have thought that it would have been like the Colts or somebody, or maybe some big play to one of the contenders from last season. But he went to the Bucs. Now, let's be very clear. Tom Brady also knows football. He knows rosters. He realized there's a lot of young talent on offense and defense. I'm not going to a team that's going to struggle if I'm there. But still, though, this isn't Justin Timberlake leaving NSYNC with a career ahead of him and going solo. This isn't Michael Jackson leaving the Jackson 5 and putting out Thriller years later. This is Tom Brady at the end of his career. There's no arguing that. It's not like, oh, he's in the middle of his career. The light at the end of the tunnel isn't as bright. He is literally at the end and walks away and goes to Tampa, which was the butt of all jokes. And, oh, look at Jameis, 30 for 30, and they're struggling. And we went down there towards the end of the season and watched Tampa just struggle, and we just thought it's going to be a long time before this organization gets the respect they deserve because they just don't have the pieces. That wasn't it. They just didn't have the piece.
It really does feel like Jordan brought the Wizards to the finals. Like it's
Doesn't it?
As close as that was. Yeah, because the Wizards were a joke too.
And it's unreal to me that Tom Brady can pull this off at his age. And I'll say it again, and I'm going to just keep saying it because as a football player, this really stands out to me in his career. He's never been a threat to run. Every defense he's ever faced has went into a game saying stop the pass and the pass only.
Yeah.
And still he is one of the greatest passers we've ever seen. And Kyle said this, Peter said, Case, you said it this year too. It doesn't look like he's slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
What Kyle said the other day, Tom Brady can play 2 more years.
So is he at the end of his career?
I didn't laugh. I didn't snicker. I just had a straight face. And I was like, all right, moving on. Because that statement seems correct by the way he's playing. If he wins this Super Bowl, I feel like it is the greatest move in sports. For him to walk away from Bill Belichick, who we always said Tom Brady was attached to him, and this was the marriage that made him great. Tom Brady said, no. I'll show you guys how great I am once I do it alone.
Well said.
And what about this run, right? If he gets to the Super Bowl and wins it, he had beaten Drew Brees in his building. he had beaten Aaron Rodgers in his building. He had beaten Patrick Mahomes.
Crazy. En
route to a Super Bowl at 43. It is amazing.
I think about
it's nuts.
Hey, let's not sleep on Taylor Heineke either. Come on.
Taylor Heineke, you're right. I look at it though, like it's an amazing. Like, I'm almost numb to Brady. Even last night, it's hard to like
fight
be like,
the exhaustion of it.
Wow, because it's just every year he wows us, and yet I don't want to take for granted what he did as a Patriot. Like I think there's a time to appreciate it. And when I say just a Patriot, I'm thinking about Jets fans, Bills fans, and Dolphins fans. To me, the greatest achievement that Tom Brady has ever done is ruining the childhoods of 3 different fan bases for an entire generation. For 20 years, this guy absolutely dominated the AFC East. It was Brady every single year. And the one year that the Dolphins got there, and the Dolphins were like, all right, we're the division champions with Tony Sparano, the late Tony Sparano, and Chad Pennington, it was because Brady went down with a knee injury in week 1. It's unbelievable the dominance that Brady had. And then here's where it spins forward. So he does that, comes to the NFC with quarterbacks like Rodgers and Breeze and Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz and Jared Goff and Russell Wilson. And in his first year, enters the NFC and is like, I'm the best quarterback. I'm going to Super Bowl.
There's no warm-up year.
There was nothing. It was, Aaron Rodgers, I got it.
Drew
Brees, Russell Wilson, Like, it's simply mind-blowing that he dominated one division and conference for all those years. And then in his first year, in the next one is like, I'm the #1 guy. I'm going to Super Bowl. Kudos to Tom freaking Brady.
It is incredible. He ruined those childhoods of so many people. And yet, like, I'm still bringing it back to this year. Tom Brady was born in the 70s, and he didn't sneak in like 79. Like, he's born in like the meat of the 70s. He is an old man in not only in sports, society. And when you're Tom Brady's age, you're supposed to go in for your physical, and the doctor's like, oh my God, you got to change a lot. You got to stop doing this, stop doing this. Just absolutely pristine. And I don't think we really appreciate how old he is doing this. So I want to do a little exercise here at the table. I want to bring up a few pictures of Tom Brady and some other gentlemen, and you guys just tell me who's older.
I love this.
All right? First picture, please. Tom Brady and the legendary George Blanda. Raiders quarterback at the time. Ladies and gentlemen, who's older? Go ahead.
I'm going to go with George Blanda.
It looks like
Tom
George
Brady.
Blanda.
I feel like I'm an Ellen on one of those. Like, pick your guy.
George Blanda seems weathered.
In this case, yes. In this case, George Blanda is older because George Blanda is the oldest to ever throw a pass in the NFL, 48.
What?
For Tom Brady to break that record, he has to throw a pass in November of 2025. Wow. All right, so that's just
48.
That guy threw a pass at 48 years old. Now let's make this a little more relatable. Next picture, please. Who's older, Tom Brady or James Corden? What do you got, guys?
Tom Brady's older than James Corden.
Tom Brady's older?
I'm going to say Corden's older.
I'll say Tom.
You think Tom? Tom's older than James Corden. Very, very narrow margin. He is not older than James Corden carpool karaoke bit, though. Last one.
Hey!
I can use that these days.
Who's older? Who you got? Brady or Kanye? Who is older?
I feel like it's Kanye West.
You think Kanye is older than Tom Brady?
He's been in the game for a long time.
Brady's been in the game longer. I feel like Brady was already a Super Bowl winner when Kanye came on the scene.
Slim margin. Again, Tom Brady's older.
Tom Brady is older than Kanye West and still go. I wouldn't exactly say Kanye's in his prime as a musician, respectfully or not respectfully. Tom Brady, completely respectfully, still leading his team to the Super Bowl. Yeah. These are the kind of people who are in his age range. George Blanda, Kanye West, and it's. James Corden is a really talented. He's not running from the Packers defense. He's not running from Cam Jordan and evading them and throwing touchdowns. It's absolutely remarkable. Tom Brady is still passing like a legend. He should be passing kidney stones at this age.
So is getting to Super Bowl 55, we're not talking winning, getting there is the most impressive, with his age, is the most impressive achievement?
I think it is. Think back to a year ago. Yeah. #washed. Brady doesn't have it anymore.
Titans,
one and done against the Titans. Looked like he was just done. And now he's like, I think I'm still the best quarterback in the world. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I just want to remind everyone, to go back to your point, Peter, I want you saying what he did to the AFC East, ruining kids' dreams that play for the other teams. This is a man, let's just not forget that he was a 6th-round pick that came out of nowhere and won a Super Bowl right away. And then he won a Super Bowl in 3 of his first 4 years, right? That's crazy. The only other guy who did that was Troy Aikman, but that was in the middle, the meat, as you're saying, of his career. But to really think that he came out and won 3 out of 4 at the beginning of his career strikes as an unknown name, That's the greatest achievement in my eyes. That is a crazy thing.
And they had a $100 million quarterback, Drew Bledsoe, on their roster that they said, we're going to go with Brady instead. It's an amazing story.
Not downplaying what he's doing at 43. It's absolutely impressive and ridiculous. But just getting there, just getting to 55 is not his greatest achievement. I don't know if he wins that. If he wins, that might be different story.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to a much younger Tom from Tom Brady. Tom Pelissero joining the show right now. Tom, the last vacancy appears to have been filled, narrow margin. I don't know. The Texans expected to hire David Culley as their new head coach. How did that go down?
Okay, the Texans picked up David Culley for his interview on Wednesday morning. They talked for several hours. He went back to his hotel around 1 p.m. Then he got a call around 3 saying, come on back in. We want to continue this conversation. By last night, we had the first big surprise of this head coaching hiring cycle with David Culley and the Texans working toward a deal. He is 65 years old, been a coach for over 4 decades, including 27 seasons in the NFL. Longtime Andy Reid assistant who more recently worked for Reid protege John Harbaugh in Baltimore. Culley is known as a high-energy guy. He is a very positive guy. He now notably is going to be the first black head coach and second minority hired in this cycle. And he's got a fascinating staff. You're going to have Tim Kelly, the offensive coordinator. He is going to return. They are targeting Lovie Smith, the former NFL head coach, for a role on staff, likely as defensive coordinator. And quarterback Josh McCown, who had a very high-profile interview for the head coaching job, I'm told is expected to have a role in some capacity on this staff. Now, Culley beats out the likes of Leslie Frazier, who had 2 interviews, as well as Jim Caldwell. The Texans also did speak with Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy, but they did not reach out for a second interview with him. Culley was their guy. All the attention now turns to the future of quarterback Deshaun Watson, who has not yet publicly, commented on this surprise hire.
Appreciate you, Tom Pelissero, for all the updates as the pieces fall into place around the National Football League, just 10 days away from Super Bowl 55. Okay, we're going to go Google Tom Pelissero's age, and then we're going to talk about this. Play NFL Pick'em Party. Look at that view. It's the new free-to-play game presented by Caesars Rewards.